our world is from the natural bases. Earth, air, fire, and water. The four elements from which all things are created.
This is Chaos Theory
and Cosmic Chisme,
where we put the chaos into theory and spill the tea about the connections between us, nature, and everything in between.
So join us in unraveling the cosmic secrets and coincidences we just couldn't ignore. Gather round, witches and wizards, ghosts and ghouls, monsters and mummies. It is time for Chaos Theory and Cosmic Chisme. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Kayleen.
And we have now reached the month of October, which means it is spooky season. And you are now listening to the very first episode of our spooky series.
And you're not going to want to miss any of the upcoming episodes because October is an exclusive month of spooky topics.
And if you have any spooky topics, or really any topics you want us to cover, shoot us an email at chaostheorycosmicchisme@gmail.com.
And who knows, there might be even a special treat at the end of the month. We've got a bonus episode on the horizon.
That's true. And don't forget to like and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, as well as tapping that notification button so you are always in the loop of what our next Chisme is, and so you can get notified for that bonus episode we got at the end of the month.
Yes. Happy 1st of October, Ash.
Happy 1st of October. We are recording on October 1st, and I'm so ready for spooky Halloween season.
Yeah.
The leaves are turning. The decoration.
Scary movies, scary podcasts, all the stuff, scary stories. As soon as like a cold breeze swept through, I'm not gonna lie, this is the earliest I think I've jumped on board for like, okay, fall's here. I think it was like first week of September. We got like one chilly night, and I was like, yep, it's time.
It's coming, and I don't think it missed a beat.
Nope.
Yep.
They said that this is actually one of the earliest reports I've seen because normally it's just always such a beautiful time of the year, and normally it's still pretty green, warm still. But every so often, fall will come a little bit earlier, and I think this is the year. And they said, according to like the reports, the colors of the trees and stuff like that changing, the foliage will be at its peak on my birthday.
Really?
I just feel like God's favor sometimes.
That's amazing.
Last year, we got to see the Northern Lights on my birthday.
Oh my! Had already been a year?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. I could have sworn that was like the beginning of the year, but I can't believe that was already a year ago.
Yes.
Well, okay, so God's like, I got you, Kayleen. Happy birthday. Here's some nature.
So everybody will ask, what do you want for your birthday? I'm like, it's already locked in. Yeah. Whatever it is, there's something special going to happen. I don't know. But so the Northern Lights happened last year. This year, peak leaf peeping season, that dates. So everybody can celebrate. And I think that's what I love. I think it's a gift that everybody can enjoy. It's just something I really enjoy doing. I'm very fortunate to live close to a national park. So I get to just have full access to the most beautiful, like, in nature, surrounded by trees, leaf peeping.
I mean, it's literally a sea of colorful leaves.
Yes.
See, I wish October could be a little bit longer.
I know. Can October just be 2 months?
Yeah, because November, it's kind of over at that point.
Yeah.
But
I think that's one of the reasons why it's so beautiful is because it's so fleeting. You know, it's like a 2-week window of the leaves are changing, the sky, the mountains look like they're on fire. And
you don't have a choice but to interrupt your busy life to go and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's just so fleeting.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't know about you, but like whenever I see the leaves changing, it just makes the trip feel more peaceful. Like there's like a chemical release in my brain that just feels like you're at peace right now. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know. But
I love that. Yeah.
So I don't know.
So we are going to go visit the Blue Ridge Mountains here in this upcoming story.
Yeah.
And
really?
Yes.
Ooh.
So I do want to mention first that a few episodes ago we released Smart Waters, which is the episode where, Kayleen, you discussed about how water has memory.
Yeah. Episode 6. Check it out.
Yep. Go back and listen to that and then come back to this episode and it'll all make sense.
Yeah. Don't even try to listen to this episode if you haven't listened to episode 6.
Yep. Well, we only scratched the surface of that subject. And it's a much deeper topic that only one episode can cover. And water may hold more than just memories, but it could also hold lost souls seeking closure or vengeance.
Interesting.
And we will definitely get into the depth about it, as well as many more topics that we discuss on this podcast. So grab a blanket, open your mind, and gather around as we will tell the stories of underwater horror. Our first underwater tale takes us deep into the Blue Ridge Mountains of northern Georgia. Here lies a vast man-made body of water known as Lake Lanier. Just an hour from Atlanta, it stretches far and wide across the landscape, shimmering and sparkling under the sunlight. Lake Lanier holds the record of the largest lake in Georgia. It was built in the 1950s by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Officially, it was created to control floods, produce electricity, and supply water to the state. But beneath that shimmering water lies a darker story. So to create this lake, entire towns had to die. Families were forced from their homes, schools, churches, graveyards, all abandoned.
Oh my gosh.
And once the dam was finished, because they were building this dam, so once that was finished, the water rose higher and higher, and what was once thriving is now drowned in silence.
Ooh.
So today, Lake Lanier draws in about 12 million visitors a year. So boating, fishing, camping, swimming, and it seems like the perfect getaway. But there's only one thing. Since the lake's creation, an estimated 700 people have died here.
What the heck?
700. And in 1994 alone, which was the worst year, 200 deaths.
Oh my gosh.
In 1 year. Yes.
And people want to say that shark attacks are, the risk for the ocean. We're talking about there's a difference between beach people and lake people. Lake people, y'all are hiding something. Beach people were, I don't know, different.
Yes. Lake, there's just something about it because I guess maybe it's so small. It's a community for sure. So visitors say there's something strange about the water when they go there. It's a feeling that you're not alone, that you're being watched. And some describe the water as it being heavier and thicker.
Interesting.
And there's something that's weighing you down into the depths of the lake. So survivors of near drowning say there was no thrashing, no panic, just sinking, like something was pulling them down with no effort.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that either. Yeah, I don't want to go on vacation.
No. No. I mean, if I'm going to get pulled under, I want to know what's doing it.
Yep. And divers, too, who actually will go down, at the bottom of the lake or, explore the area. So visibility is, zero. You can't see anything because there's so much debris. It's an underwater town in there. And one diver actually said that he would reach out and he would feel what felt like a limb. Oh. And it was just motionless, like an arm or a leg.
Why are people swimming in this?
That's a good question. And Lake Lanier has 12 million visitors a year.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And they're all just being dragged under the water.
Yes. And I watched a documentary about it too. Geez. And Like, this one guy that worked there, he was like, yeah, they just disappeared. They would just go under. And it's just no fighting.
You're more likely to... Sorry, I'm still, like, tossing around in my mind that you're more likely to die at Lake Lanier than you are to be killed by a shark at the beach. We need to flip the thinking of what is actually dangerous in this country. I can only tell you what about this country, because we'll have all this marketing and everything about the dangers of sharks and wildlife and all the stuff that occurs naturally. But when it comes to a man-made horror, like Lake Lanier, we'd be like, no. It's much safer than going to the beach. Come visit our lake. Sometimes you feel like something's pulling you under. Just ignore that, though.
Yeah.
You just gotta be a stronger swimmer.
Is it in the waiver?
Right.
Like, are they like, hey, you know, you can swim, just swim at your own risk. I can't handle that.
Right.
And so during a drought in 2007, a Native American burial site was exposed. So this drought came, and they were like, oh, hey, a Native American burial site, which you don't fuck around.
The ancestors must have been like, it's time to show something. Then she goes, I got you. It's going to be a drought this year.
Yep, let's get this drought in, and then we'll show them what they did.
Mother Nature's like, psst, look at this. Check this shit out. Oh, God.
And the Corps officials, they were like, well, we thought we got everybody. We thought we moved everybody from the cemeteries and the burial sites.
No,
there's no way.
Have you seen the movie The Poltergeist?
I want to say yes.
It's like, I think it was made in the 70s.
Don't man, that sounds terrifying. I want to watch it.
But yeah, it's a similar story. They're like, oh, we thought we moved this pesky graveyard.
So people are like, well, I don't think you got everybody. And it's specifically the Native American tribe of Creek and Cherokee. Many people believe the disturbed souls of the Creek and Cherokees still linger beneath that dark water. So one infamous ghost is Lady of the Lake.
Oh.
So it was April 1958, and two young women set out for a night of dancing in their Ford sedan. Now, this is about 2 years after the lake was made. But as soon as they crossed over a bridge, the vehicle lost control and veered off, plunging into the lake below, and their bodies were never recovered. So not long after, people began to see one of those girls, and she is wearing a blue dress. She'll drift across the bridge late at night. And so people have claimed to see her. And some say that she's the one that's grabbing the ankles and pulling them down to join her.
That's freaky.
Yeah. And there's also a town called Oscarville, which was a once thriving black community that was erased because of Lake Lanier. And it was thriving, and people were forced out.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what Lake Lanier was before the flooding? And was this flooding literally just a man-made decision?
Yeah, this was like the government came in. It was a bunch of towns. I know it was definitely more than one, but it was small communities. So the government pretty much felt like, so y'all are just going to have to move.
I mean, I don't know what goes into choosing the best spot to create a man-made lake, but I mean, if there was an option for it to not flood a community of people, especially during such an early time when, people were just... So when was it flooded? In the 50s?
So it was flooded in the 50s.
Yeah, and some of these families are probably literally one generation removed from slavery, or at least Jim Crow laws. They're still active and whatnot. So to have any sort of anything established is so hard. They're just like, wow, I think we're getting the hang of this thing, and we're starting to plant some roots and so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden it's just all taken away because, I mean, okay, you said that it helps to control flooding or whatever, produce electricity. All those things are important. But it still feels thoughtless, like it was so quick to just dismiss all these people.
Yeah, it was. Oh, by the way, I wonder how that was announced. Like, what if you got a letter in the mail And this is 1950, so it's not like you get a, send a mass text or, email or whatever. It's like, oh, hey, by the way, you're going to have to move. Another thing, these citizens had to take the burden of moving alone. They had to figure it out. Mm-hmm. So maybe water is holding those spirits who are restless, who are angry. You see Lady of the Lake, Oscarville, and then the Native American burial site. So you got 3 pretty pissed off spirits that were disturbed. Many believe the injustice of that act left behind unrest and rage.
That's insane. That's a really powerful concept to just have so much loss and then rage alone. I mean, that energy is just preserved in that water, according to like everything that we learned in the waters episode. I can't even imagine.
And just the feeling of that water too was heavier and thicker.
Yeah.
And even the people who work at this lake, they're freaked out. Mm-hmm. And they've seen all these tragedies. And these are real families who are lost. Bodies haven't been recovered.
No, I don't know how you can advertise to come swim there. And I don't know how you can swim there and not understand what's below you and not freak out. I would freak out if I knew that there were buildings, let alone grave sites of people, body.
Yeah, floating.
Why are you swimming in a soup of despair like that?
Yeah.
Like, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Nasty.
So we're speaking of restless ghosts. And in Japanese folklore, they call a restless ghost yurei. And that's a soul that's not able to move on to the afterlife because they have unfinished business. And they linger in the world of the living, and sometimes they don't even know that they're dead. And on March 11th, 2011, a 9.1 magnitude earthquake, which is pretty high, struck off the coast of Japan. And it created a massive tsunami that rose higher than 30 meters.
Oh my gosh.
So the disaster just covered the Tohoku region and claimed nearly 20,000 lives.
20,000 lives.
20,000.
This
That's
was
a
in
lot.
2011. Holy
2011. Yeah. And we were in college.
Wow.
Living life. And it was the most expensive disaster.
Wow.
Billions of dollars is how much it costs to recover from this.
Oh my gosh.
And it still holds that title. So, traditionally, it is said that those who die suddenly, violently, or before their time may return to Earth as a yurei. And they're seeking closure, vengeance, or just a way to finish up their interrupted journey before they can be reborn. So not long after the tsunami, in this coastal city called Kamaishi, some of these taxi drivers, they claim that they would pick up passengers, completely normal, and then they'd ask them to take them to a place. And they'd get to that destination, they look behind them, nobody there. And they started to call them phantom passengers. And it started to become so often with these taxi drivers that it caused a complaint. Some of the taxi drivers, they would say that these passengers would be like, hey, can you take me to this street, this town? But they're like, that doesn't exist anymore because of the tsunami. I can't take you there.
That's crazy.
So Kayleen and I have been faithful subscribers of this YouTube channel called Nuke's Top 5. And if you are a big fan of the spooky ghost, you would definitely enjoy this channel.
Did you see it?
Did you see it?
Yeah.
And so he actually covers this in one of his episodes where there's footage. Taxi drivers have cameras, and it was shown that there was this lady in the back. And she's talking, too, if I remember correctly.
And she's soaking wet. That was the other thing. Her body was dripping wet, and the taxi driver even commented on that.
You okay?
Yeah. And I think it was like raining at the time or whatever. So it was like, okay, whatever. But like they were just abnormally wet more than just being out in the rain wet. Like they were drenched. I remember this episode specifically, and I just, because, taxi drivers, of course, like it's more and more popular now to have like cameras in your car. And so you can see her sitting in the back seat, and then they go under an overpass, and then she's gone. And then he's out $8. And so, no, that's just scary. If we can find the link, we should definitely
find the link.
Yeah.
It's going to take some looking into because there's so many episodes and it's worth every single. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell some people are definitely having fun on the internet, but it's compelling nonetheless. And then, people, I don't know. It's just fun. It's fun. Whatever. We all have fun. It's no different than this podcast. Look, there's some stuff here that's definitely not science-based, but whatever.
Right. Yeah.
We're having fun.
You be all right. Other than the taxi drivers, families, some of the survivors, they claim to have late-night phone calls from loved ones who had died in the disaster.
Oh, my gosh.
So there's this guy who created this phone booth, and this is before the tsunami. And he created this phone booth in his garden, and he would use that to talk to his cousin who passed away. And he would use that as like a way to, console himself and make him feel that he can still talk to his cousin. Well, after that disaster happened, after the tsunami came in, he opened that phone booth to the survivors and the people who lost their family. So people will come to his house, and he's wide open about it. He's like, talk to your loved one on the phone. It's called the wind phone. And what's interesting, too, is that it happened where he lived. The tsunami, that phone booth survived. So it's a way for them to find solace, and, grieving families can speak to their loved ones.
The fact that it's called the wind phone, first of all, do you have any information about why it's called the wind phone, or is that just...
So because it's facing the Pacific Ocean. So their voices carry into the wind. And so the wind... We spoke about this in the wind episode.
I was just going to say, this is giving me chills because, so much of the water episode is playing into this, for one. And just this idea of, and even just, translating all this to, the Zodiac stuff that we've been touching on for all these episodes. The wind phone being, the mode of communication. Yeah. And it's an air signs are the communicators of the Zodiac.
That's amazing.
I remember when we talked about how, the network is made up. It's like the network, you know what I mean? And the element of air is associated with this communication. It's just super interesting to me. Mm-hmm. And by way of the water, it's beautiful. And in a lot of ways, you can rip this apart and I could think of a few questions to try to debunk this or whatever, but it's why would you want to do it? Why would you want to look at it anyway?
Yeah, especially if it helps you grieve. Yeah. Mental health experts, of course, scientists and doctors, all of them, they're looking into it. And what they believe is that there's just grieving families, and that's just how they cope. They see things. There's also claims of phone calls to the emergency line and asking for help, but it's after the tsunami. Everything was already said and done. So it's just so much unfinished business going on. And a lot of these experts, whatever you want to call them, it might be a hallucination. But it also makes sense to me if there were spirits still lingering. And so there's also something with respecting spirits. Yeah. We don't want them to come after us. So we want to feel like there's this respect towards these spirits.
For sure.
And so this takes me to Fresnay, Louisiana.
Okay.
In the year 1845, just 25 miles west of New Orleans, a woman named Julia Brown was born. So not very much is known about her early life, but in the past, they called her Aunt Julia. And she was a black landowner, a healer, and a midwife. She pretty much was the doctor of Fresnay. It was a small town, just like a dozen families. mostly German immigrants who farmed cabbage, turned it into sauerkraut, and then they would sell it in New Orleans or as far as Chicago.
I love it.
That's how they made their money. There were no doctors here, and so instead the community relied on Julia, who became known as a traiteur, which is a faith healer of the swamp. And her methods, which I found this really interesting, it was combined with Catholic prayers, herbal remedies plucked from the bayou, and if you were sick, you went to Julia. Like, she was the Dr. Julia Brown, you know? And if you needed help bringing a child into the world, Julia's the one you call.
Dang, Julia's busy.
So she was more than just a healer, too. She was a musician. And
really?
Yeah, she would often play her guitar and sing right next to the swamp. And people loved her, but they also were scared of her. So there were actual rumors that she was a voodoo priestess. There was more to it than just, you know, healing and stuff like that. You know, whether it's true or not, she got the respect and the fear, you know. So as the years went on, Julia, she grew older, and her love for the townspeople began to fade because she started to feel taken advantage of. Fair, I believe it.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be healing everybody that's sick, birthing all the babies, like you're the only doctor in town, and you're an Auntie Julia, like that's a lot of work.
Yeah, and so she started to feel used, and her kindness and her gifts were taken for granted. That's how she started to feel. And so the song she sang on her porch took a darker turn.
Oh.
Rocking back and forth in her chair, and these are people who claimed back then. They said, I saw her rocking back and forth in her chair. She would sing, when I die, I'll take the whole town with me. When I die, I'll take the whole town. September 29th, 1915, Julia Brown died at the age of 70. So the townspeople gathered for her funeral, some grieving, and others hoping that, you know, I respect you. Just so you know, I respect you. Please don't come after me. Yeah. So they're trying to gather her favor, you know?
Yeah.
Right? And so they want to make peace with her spirit.
Oh my goodness.
And as the service began, at 4 p.m, the New Orleans hurricane of 1915 struck.
Oh my gosh.
As soon as they laid her to rest. And New Orleans hurricane of 1915, that's like winds of 145 miles per hour. And this tidal wave, 30 feet high, smashed into the coast. And by the time the storm subsided, Frenier, gone. Disappeared. Wiped out. And nearly 275 lives were lost. Her song came true.
When I die, I'll take the whole town with me.
Yep.
Crazy.
She wasn't playing. And the bodies of the townsfolk, they were never recovered. And they were placed in this mass grave. But Julia's, they took her and they put her separate. They're like, you're going to go over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's still there, laid to rest in the swamp. And some believe she practiced hoodoo rather than voodoo. I'm not quite sure what the difference is.
But don't worry, because next episode, we're going to talk about the difference between hoodoo and voodoo.
So today, Frenier is just a ghost town, just moss, swamp water, and silence where life once thrived. And some say they still hear her. The faint strum of the guitar, the echo of the song. When I die, I'll take the whole town with me. And I'm going to end with this, because it's a real-life article. And New Orleans released a news article on October 2nd, 1915, which reads, many pranks were played by wind and tide. Townspeople had gathered for miles around to attend the funeral of Aunt Julia Brown, an old black woman who was well known in that section and was a big property owner. The funeral was scheduled, and Aunt Julia had been placed in her casket, and the casket in turn had been placed in the customary wooden box and sealed. At 4 o'clock, however, the storm had become so violent that the townspeople left the house in a stampede, abandoning the corpse. The corpse was found Thursday, and so was the wooden box, but the casket never has been found. And that's a real article.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I literally have chills right now.
Yeah. Just the fact that you have proof from a news article, that's what gets me.
Yeah.
You know?
Creepy.
Yes. So the water, I mean, there's a lot more underwater horror stories out there. That's only 3 of them.
Yeah.
And Julia Brown.
Yeah.
What zodiac sign do you think she is? She's January 1845. That's all I know.
January. So if we had to break it down between either, if I had to choose between her being a Capricorn or an Aquarius.
She fascinates me.
Yeah.
Because she's very, very giving.
Uh-huh.
And then she's like, wait, hold up. I'm worth something too.
Yeah. I'm going to say she's a Capricorn, and I think that because she reminds me of Dolly Parton, who's also a Capricorn, and very giving and loving and everything. But, you know, Dolly, I think, could easily, like, if she turned on us, we'd be screwed. You know, we couldn't afford that sort of energy, right? Because she's very powerful. Eartha Kitt is also another Capricorn, and I think she represents to me what would happen if you did kind of scorn a Capricorn. Eartha Kitt she's got a really interesting story.
Who is that?
Eartha Kitt, it was, she sang the original, like, Santa Baby,
Okay.
down the chimney tonight. Okay. Yeah. So you should just, like, look her up sometime, but she not only sang the original Santa Baby, but she also played Catwoman in the 60s version of Batman. And she also played in The Emperor's New Groove as Yzma. But basically, when she was, it was like during the Vietnam War, she had a little meeting with Lady Bird Johnson, the wife of President Lyndon B. Johnson. And she was just like not a big fan of the Vietnam War. So she spoke out, which kind of led her to being like, ostracized by the U.S. They did not appreciate her comments. So she ended up leaving the U.S. and living abroad in Europe and Asia and stuff for 10 or 12 years or something like that. So, but yeah, she's super interesting. And that's kind of how I feel like she relates to Julia Brown. Like she just kind of was at her wit's end. She's like, well, screw you guys then. But a lot of the slander you might hear about voodoo, hoodoo, and witchcraft is a lot to do with the power of women. And just like the townspeople talking about Julia Brown, keep gossiping.